Hello everyone, welcome back to Creators Call Shop here on YouTube. My name is Marcy and this is my channel. I'm so glad that you're here to join me today. Today I am going to show you an idea that I came up with that is a variation on the fabric flip. And so I just kind of had this idea as I was watching someone else's video, and I ran with it and came up with a few things that I think you'll find enjoyable. And I know for sure you're going to be seeing these in my journals in the future. So go ahead and get yourself something to drink, get yourself a comfy chair, get yourself your cozy blanket, and we will be back in just a minute to get started. We're back. All right, everybody settled in? Great, let's get started. Okay, so in my video today, I'm going to show you this idea that I came up with that's a variation on the fabric flip. So what is a fabric flip? If you're not sure, you're new to junk journaling, a lot of times you will see people, journal makers, as they are putting their pages together, they will construct something that looks similar to this, just different layers of fabric with some sort of little embellishment or focal point, and then they'll glue it to the top of the page. And the point of the fabric flip is you can have secret journaling space underneath. And if you want to really get crazy, you can even maybe put in a piece of lined paper that folds out, and then when you put it all, and then that would give you more journal space. See, like that. But when you cover it up with the fabric flip, it's just kind of a little secret spot and nobody knows it's there except for you. So I was watching someone's video the other day, and I'd love to give her credit. I don't remember whose video I was watching. I don't remember. I was watching through a whole bunch of videos that I had in my saved for later playlist. And this was a flip through video. And like I said, I don't remember specifically whose it was, but the lady on the video was just kind of flipping through her journal, and she came to a page and she had a tip-in that folded down on her page similar to this, and she just flipped it up and was just pointing out that it was a flip. And I thought to myself, that would be kind of cool, you know, if that was a pocket and then you flipped it up and then there was the hidden space. So I was thinking of something kind of like this that people do. Just fold this up as a pocket, and then you could stick a tag in there and you would have a pocket like this. And then I thought, like 2 seconds later, I thought, wait, wouldn't it be even better if that flip pocket thing was fabric? And so an idea was born, and so I got crazy. I started playing. So I'm going to show you what I have here, and then I kind of did some more variations on them. Anyway, I'll show you what I came up with while I was playing, and then I'll show you how I made it, and hopefully this will be a very quick video. So my idea was to take the basic concept of the fabric flip, and underneath here on the bottom layer have it be a pocket. I should have grabbed a tack. Hold on just a second. And then you could have something hidden in there, or an extra little tag or journal card or what have you. And then fold this down, and again, nobody would know that that was there. It's like another secret place to hide your journaling as you go through, and then you'd flip it up and you'd still have the journal space underneath. And I wanted to point out that it's similar to like a sheet. Like when you make the bed, you put the right side down so the pretty sides of the sheets are together, and then when you unmake the bed or when you're climbing out of bed, the pretty side shows while your bed's all unmade. I know my family mocks me for this, but anyway, so I just laid it down with the good side laying down, and then I folded it back up. So you have the pretty side of the pocket, and on most fabrics, if it's a pretty definite pattern, it shows through enough that it doesn't make much difference. And plus you're going to cover it with these other pieces anyway, so nobody knows that it's upside down. And then when you flip it on the page, you still have the pretty side of the fabric to look at here. So here's this one. So I made a few like that. They're just the basic fold it up and make your layers. And then I made a couple like this where I put my fabric here and then I just use a coordinating piece of fabric as the pocket piece and I just sewed it on. Okay, and then this one is just plain on the back. So when you lift it up, it's going to be plain, but it still looks nice. And then this one I did not reverse, so the right side was down. I left the right side up. So really you could do anything that you wanted. You know, you can make these your own. They're very fun to personalize. Then as I was going along, I thought, ooh, well what if we put the pocket on the underneath side so that as you're flipping through, I've got the right side of the fabric up here and then I flip and the pocket is actually on the back. So that was fun. That was my first variation. Well, the first variation was to do coordinating fabric on the front, and then the next one was to put the pocket on the underside of the flip. And then I got a little more carried away and I thought, ooh, what if I hide my pocket under here, under the flaps? I don't know if this will fit in there. It won't, but anyway, so I stitched this pocket on so that it is covered by the top layered pieces, but you still have that secret pocket. But really now it really is a secret pocket because you wouldn't know unless you flip this up and you see the stitching that something is under there. So those were just three ways that I came up with the variation on the theme. And then I was going to show you these two because I also wanted to make some that were a little more fall themed or masculine themed. And this particular fabric, there's very little difference between the wrong side and the right side, other than the right side's a little brighter and crisper, but you really can't tell. So these are just a couple that I made that look a little more masculine or naturey fall kind of theme and not quite as girly and frilly. Okay, so how did I make this? And if you sew at all, you probably already know how I made it. It's not like there's a big mystery out there. But I'm going to demonstrate with one here, and I'm going to start with this piece of green. And what I did, because I was making a lot of these for the specific journals I'm working on, I just took a junk piece of paper here from a page from the book, and I just kind of drew a rough shape of how big or little I wanted it. But you don't have to do that. You can just eyeball it, because most of them I do. So let's see, I do want it long enough. You want it to be long enough so that when you fold it up, this is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, but then it would still come down on your page a ways. Okay, so I'm going to trim it right about there. And then I'm just going to tear that one off. And then depending on if you like the torn look or if you want, you can use your pinking shears, your good sewing pinking shears, and pink the edges. Now I know that with junk journaling, a lot of people now are new to the idea of sewing, and I've been sewing since I was 9 years old. So some habits are ingrained in me, and one of them is that, well, first of all, let's do this like this. One of them is that your right side is up when you make something, but the main one is that if you don't want your fabric to fray over time, you use the pinking shears to cut out that edge. For now, I'm going with the torn look on the sides, but I think over time, depending on how well you want this to stay constructed, you may want to start with a pinking shear edge in the first place. So like this one, as you can see, has the pinked edges. The way to combat the fraying is either to use the pinking shears, or if you do the straight edge, then you zigzag your seam. Okay, so either one of those will help prevent fraying. And on this particular piece, since it's going to be glued along the top on the page, I'm not as worried about fraying because it can only go down to the glue line and it'll still be in the book and be fine. But on this bottom piece, since I'm going to be folding it up, I'm going to pink it because I think it just needs, it's going to get a lot of interaction, and it just, I think, could use a little bit of extra insurance against fraying. I'm going to move that out of the way for a minute. Okay, so I lay the right side of my fabric down, which is the good side with the pattern. If I'm over explaining, I'm sorry, but I know there are a lot of people that are new to junk journaling, a lot of people that are recent to sewing because of junk journaling, and so I'm going to explain, and obviously if you know it, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but I want to be thorough in my explanation. So then I'm going to fold this up about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. I just eyeball it, whatever looks good to me. And then I have these cool little clips that I bought that I'm loving these, but you can just clip this piece together, or if you can use your traditional pins, however you want to do. Okay. And then I just took it to the sewing machine, and I started on this edge and I sewed down here and then across the bottom, just because it's easier than lifting up my foot and moving it and all that. And I could just keep going that way. I did a pivot, I did a straight edge across the bottom, and then I zigzagged back up the side. So either way, however you wish to do it, with a pin or with these cute little clippies. I got these, it's a tin, I got them off of the Amazon back in the fall, I think, because they were on special for like $10. And this tin has, I thought it was 100, but it's probably more than that. I don't remember how many of these little clippies are in there, and I thought that was cool. So I ordered them, and I don't know how much they are now, but if I can find the link, I will try and link it below in my video and send you over there. Okay, so then we have our flip, and then you're just gonna wanna pick the colors that you like. Now I have several fabrics here that I'm gonna be playing around with, and it works best if you do a mix of big patterns and little patterns and kind of a whole thing, but there's really no right or wrong, as you know, with a junk journal. And this, because it's a very thin vintage sheet, I am definitely going to be using the pinking shears on these, on this one, so that it doesn't come apart, because this one is definitely going to be prone to fraying. Oop, come back here. And then I got to get my bottom edge. Okay. So I found it easier to sew these pieces on first across the top. Oh, actually I should do it this way, right? Because this is the way I'm showing you. You don't have to mess with these pins and clips getting in the way as you're sewing. And so if I sewed this straight line first, then I could flip all my layers up and then come down and finish off this little pocket. Okay, so there's that one. Let's very quickly do another one, another layer. I have some smaller pieces of it already cut, I think. Kind of fumbly fingered, I'm very sorry. Now this one, I'm just gonna go with a straight edge. And sometimes I like to do like a wider piece this way and then a longer one on top. I like to kind of alternate back and forth. So it's really what you like and what pleases your eye. And I tend to locate everything over to the left side of the flip and then kind of work towards the right, because I act like I'm gonna always put it on the right hand side of the page. But do remember to do some that are oriented the other direction, because you don't know what page of your journal these are going to wind up on, and you don't want all the bulk on one side of your journal or the other. And if this is on the opposite side of a page, the left hand side of a page, for instance, it's on the left side, you're going to want everything to line up against the seam over here. If it's on the right side, you're going to want it to line up against the seam over here. Okay, so just remember to do some of each, because really you don't know what kind of journal you're going to wind up using it in, or where in your journal you're going to wind up using it. It's nice to have the options. Now this, I just happen to have a lot of smaller prints on the pieces that I picked out. But like I said, it is nice to have them be a little bit alternated. Now see, this has a nice little fray on the bottom here, and so I'm going to use that to my advantage. Line that up. You can always just lay them all right straight down the middle too if you want. That looks good. And then you can use them. You don't have to worry about where they're getting used. And then, okay, that's it. I tend to stick with 4, generally speaking. 4 layers here. Sometimes I'll do some lace underneath that pops. And sometimes, I will see if I did one here. Sometimes, like on this one, I had some net. This was from my daughter's Halloween costume when she was 2, and now she's 26. So I put this one down, but I like to kind of hide them under there because I think it gives a little bit of interest to the eye. Or like this one, oh, and this one, I'm seeing it. These 2, the lace is under here, and on this one, the lace is the very bottom layer of these little layers. Whatever makes it pop to my eye. That's just basically where I put it, and then I like to leave things sticking out so that you have some visual interest, okay? All right, so there's that one, and I think what I would like to do on this one, I may have to get out. I may not have enough to do it. Maybe I will. I think what I'd like to do is kind of do like a ruffly thing along the top. So that's going to take some that's going to take some coordination when I run it through the machine. But I'm not going to sit here and sew on camera for you. Sorry, I know that's a disappointment. But I apologize for disappointing you. But I just didn't really want to mess with doing all that and the noise and the whole thing. But this is just a pretty quick, simple project, and I just wanted to keep it quick and simple for you for the demo. There you go. And then you would just feed it through your machine this way. And again, I try to do a pretty wide zigzag. I don't think I have a single one that is not got something across the top. There we go. Don't know if you can tell. There you go. This is kind of a wider zigzag across the top just because I think it looks prettier. I don't know. Again, it's about the visual interest. Here it is. I don't know if you can tell as well from this side. So yeah, those are my variation on the fabric flip. And you will be seeing these in some journals. So today's quotes and inspirational thought are coming from this little booklet called Walking in Faith. And this is one of those little books that you give as like a gift book. And I got this at a thrift store, so I don't know if there are more of them hanging out there that you could order online if you like it or not. It says published by the Clever Factory Inc. in Nashville, Tennessee. So anyway, it's called Walking in Faith. The first quote says, "Do we miss blessings because they are not packaged as we expected?" And that's by Unknown. I know I do sometimes because I know this is just human nature, but you expect God to act or answer a prayer in a certain way. And then when he shows up and acts in your life, you don't really recognize it, or sometimes you don't appreciate it because it's not how you were thinking he would do it. And it's such a natural thing for us to fall into. I don't know why I think I should know how God is going to work because I don't. But anyway, so I know that's true for me. Have I ever missed a blessing because it was not packaged as I expected? Oh yeah. And then our verse of the day is from Numbers 6:24. Very simple, just the Lord bless you and keep you. So I hope that you are all staying well and staying safe right now. Until the next video, be inspired and do something creative today. See you next time. Bye-bye.